Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Work Smarter with EzzyBills Workflows. My name is Lee Fitzmaurice. I've been with EzzyBill for 6 years and today I'm going to be the presenter. I might have spoken to some of you during the previous conferences and I may also help you with many support questions. Again, welcome. Today I will cover what are EzzyBill workflows and how to build customer workflows and the type of workflows. I will show you plenty of demos. If you're already an EzzyBill customer, you are using EzzyBill workflows. If you log into your EzzyBill account, click workflow on the left, you will see the active workflow. I show two examples below. And the top one is a standard default Xero workflow. The bottom one is another Xero workflow with a one-level approval. So I'm just give you a quick demo. So you click workflow on the left, and then that's what you're going to say. This is a default active workflow showing, and has a pre-extract, extract, and Xero export 3 tasks. For EzzyBill extraction, we always have 2 tasks, pre-extract and extract. If you want to change the workflow or add more workflow, you can do it. So it is to build your custom invoice workflows. There are 2 scenarios. So I'm going to show you some examples. So the top scenario is the most common. It's add 1 or 2 extra tasks to your active workflows. So in the workflow, the most important is tasks, the work task. In this example, we have 3 tasks. And if you want to add 1 more, and you can. Popular workflow tasks include Google Drive export, and this one is in addition to export invoice data to your accounting software. We can also export a copy of invoice file to your Google Drive. Invoice check, price check workflow. This is a new one. It's only about a month or 2 old. And this is to check line items on your invoice and to compare the price with either your price in your accounting software or a list of price that you upload to EzzyBill. Another popular one is submit approval for level either 3 or 4. And for EzzyBill level 1 or level 2 approval, you can simply change in the setting and the workflow will change accordingly. But for level 3 and 4, you need to edit it directly in the workflow. Chat appeal exists. This is a workflow specifically designed as beginning for simPRO users. So from a bill, we will extract a purchase order and then we'll match the purchase order in simPRO. So this task is just to check purchase order status. Does the purchase order exist, and what the status is okay for us to export a receipt to it. So this workflow can also be used by Xero, QuickBooks, and MYOB users to match bill with a purchase order. And the next workflow task is called Project Manager Approval. And this task was also designed for simple users. So basically, we obtain the project manager based on job directly from simPRO and send approval email to the manager directly. Convert a sale. And this task is to convert a bill to a sale invoice. And another scenario people create a workflow is they create additional workflow. And those workflows are non-active and they were designed to perform a specific task. For example, the workflow task assign a job. So you might create a workflow just for a specific job. So or for any expenses and the bill upload to this workflow, it will be allocated to this job. Change part. And this one to match supply item code to your item code. And set invoice details. And this workflow task has many potential usage. For example, you can assign a job and also tracking data. You can assign the general ledger account code. You can also assign the expense bank account and etc. A job split is a task to split a bill into multiple jobs. And account split is to split a bill into multiple account code. And price adjustment is to adjust price by a certain percentage. Okay, these are the examples. We have roughly about 100 tasks you can choose from. And if you need a new task, you can email to our support team and we will consider. For many workflow tasks, we provide a setting which you can change. We may also have a data associated with this task. So I'll just give you some example. This one for account split. So this is to split a bill into multiple GL account code. For this task, the setting is written in JSON format. We give you some sample sample settings and you just copy and paste into your setting and modify slightly. In these examples, we split the bill into two Xero account. One is with account number 300 and that's for 30% of the cost. Another is account code 321, and that's for 70% of the cost. This is another example for invoice price check. We have both setting and extra data. In the setting, we have two you can tick. You can choose to use your price list file, or we can use the price list in your accounting software. And this one is to allow to tell us that it's a price including tax or exclude tax. So below here, you can upload the price file and then you are ready to go. In the previous few slides, I'm solely talk about one type of EzzyBill workflow, which is the invoice and approval workflows. So just quickly summarize here. For each EzzyBill account, there is one active workflow. For, all document upload normally will go through this workflow, but you can also create additional workflows, and those may not be active, but they can accessible via special email upload aliases. So I will show you later. There are also statement workflows, and this one is very specific to supplier statement. So normally, if you upload a supply statement via email, we will detect it as a statement, not an invoice. We will not process it as invoice. Instead, we store it as a blob storage file. And if you upload a statement, direct when you log into EzzyBill, we may process as invoice file. For supply statement reconciliation, so it is trader statement not as invoice, with trader statement as a statement which contain multiple invoice numbers. So when we process it, we will check those invoice in your accounting software and then tell you the status of each invoice. So does the invoice exist? Is the invoice already being paid? So this is called supply statement reconciliation. If you, by default, is turn it off. If you turn it on, we will automatically detect a statement when it comes from an email, and then we'll do the reconciliation automatically. So there are more types of EzzyBill workflow. I list a few here, but they are not commonly used, and like we use it, but there's not much what you can do to customize it, but this could change in the future. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some demos. Okay, that's this is a EzzyBill account with only a standard Xero workflow, which is active. And if you want to add a few additional tasks, and you can, for example, in this case, you want to add an invoice price check. So what you do is, from my presentation, you will know the name of it. So you just type in, it's the last one, you click it, so it will appear here. But this is a default system workflow you cannot modify. So the first thing you will need to do is actually add a new workflow. So this is a EzzyBill is a system workflow you can't change, but you can add a new one. So I'll show you how to do it. So click new. There are two options, and you can choose a workflow. You can choose an empty workflow. You can choose Xero workflow or MYOB workflow, and that's one way to do it. And is to choose empty workflow. Then you can drag all the tasks from for this workflow, but this will take a lot of time. But if you only want to add one extra task, I recommend to choose a workflow to copy. And this example, we want to copy this workflow, and then we create. Okay, the workflow we created, generally we give it a name, workflow 1, 2, 3. So this is the one I just created. So I switch to it. And now I can edit it. So first I just rename it. So price check. I rename to price check. Okay, now I need to add a invoice price check. Okay. So it come to here, and so all you need to do is use your mouse to drag it and connect the arrow. So I just use my mouse to pick up the tip, the arrow. So instead of connecting there, so I put here. So once your mouse is in the middle of this task and it show as yellow, and you can just drop there. You can see when you move it, yeah. And then you go from the middle and to connect it to that one. In this example, you can put a price check before exporting Xero or after. Both are fine, but you definitely need not before the data extraction. Pre-extract and extraction, those are the generally happen first, and after that other workflow can happen. And since we've done it, we just click save. Okay. And for the invoice price check, and it is for invoice with line item, so you will also need to change the setting to extract the line items. So now this is all done for this price check workflow. And since I make it to active workflow, so every invoice you upload to your EzzyBill, we will try to do a price check. If we extract the item code, if for invoice without item code, and then we will not do it. And this is one example. Another example is approval workflow. And for typically, if you go to EzzyBill settings, you can enable approval workflow. And for example, you choose a single level. You can choose single level or 2-level approval. In this example, I choose 2-level approval. So when you save it, okay. Okay. Sorry, and I should have make this workflow to default first. Then I can change the settings. Okay, so now I change the settings and the workflow should already changed. Yes, so in this example, and the workflow already changed, called Xero bill approval level 2. So I zoom in a little bit so you can see more clearly. So if I hold a Control K and I can pan it. Okay, so you can say the pre-extract, extract, that's the two first task generally you do. And after that, we have submit approval 1 and approved 1. For each level approval, we have 2 tasks. And then beyond that, we got submit approval to and Xero export. So what if you want to level 3 approval? Okay, you can do it. So I'll show you right now. So let me switch to this one first, so that it's easier make to edit. Submit approval 3. Okay, I zoom in a little bit. So what I want to do is put a level 3 behind the level 2, and I do that. And then I do that, and then I connect that. I just move around. Yeah, they're all connected. Now I save it. So now I got the level 3 approval. For many workflow tasks, you can have settings. For example, extract, there are a lot of settings you can add. We give you some, examples, what you can do. For example, we can set up a language. We can add some special, learning rules for the data extraction. There's many things you can do with the settings. Just for approval, and this one many of you might heard it before. For submit approval task, you can set up approval rules. For example, if only invoice amount are greater than $1,000, you want to approve, you put $1,000 there and save the setting. So then for this level, only invoice amount greater than 1,000 will be approved. If less than 1,000, we don't need it, this level. So there are many settings, and you can modify it to make it more customized for you. Okay, that is the brief demo about the invoice workflow. That is this one. It's invoice for invoice and approval. And I mentioned another workflow called statement workflow. This is for supply statement reconciliation. And for this workflow, it's generally off. So I click this, you will see nothing. There's no active workflow. But if you want to us to automatically detect the statement from your email upload and then automatically does supply statement reconciliation, you can set up the active statement workflow. You just go to new and choose a statement reconciliation workflow. And here it is. So next time when you email a supply statement to EzzyBill, we will automatically do supply statement reconciliation. How to access, if you have multiple workflows. Okay, let's go back to invoice workflow. I want to show you one important thing. Say if you have a multiple workflow, price check and a multiple workflow. So there is only one is default. But if you want to also be able to access other non-default and non-active workflow, so what you can is you just go to that workflow and then just copy the email. This is a special email. So I will zoom in to show you. So this is a special email. Basically your username and dot workflow and dot, that's your workflow name. And if you email to this, you email a document to this, we will not go through the active workflow. Instead, we will go through this workflow. Currently, this workflow is only accessible via email. There is no other way you can access it. Basically, that's kind of conclude my presentation. You can manage all your entire workflow in one place. You can turn many manual tasks into great automations everywhere. And if you want to set up your custom workflow and then you need help, you can always email to support@ezzydoc.com. And also you can phone us. There's a web guide which you can follow. It has many examples, step-by-step examples that help you to set it up. Again, thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and we'll speak again.